Does a movie have to be good? Is it not enough just to see Jason Statham break some faces? The Working Man. The Working Man. Jason Statham's latest action vehicle and his return with director David Ayer. Last year, they scored big with The Beekeeper, which was a super fun slice of action trash. It was also somewhat of a revitalization for Statham. I mean, he's been in movies forever, he's always been an action star, but he finally crossed over to meme territory. The Beekeeper was just that silly, but also just that fun. Was it great? No, but the memes wrote themselves. So Statham has now gone from the Beekeeper to a working man. So how does this one stack up? Look, you don't really come to these movies for the plot. Basically, Statham's a construction worker, and one day his boss's daughter is kidnapped. His boss, played by Michael Pena, who is way overqualified and has like two scenes in this. But anyway, Statham has to go all taken on her, and that means he gets involved with the Russian mob and an assortment of crazy villains. A Jason Statham movie usually only poses one question. Does it do what it says on the box? Well, technically, a working man does. I mean, within 5 minutes, Statham's kicking ass on the construction site, using things like hammers and throwing a bucket of nails at people. And hey, that's pretty cool. So the setup already is a good start. Of course, he's just an ordinary Joe who happens to have like super military training and be the best in the world at tracking, shooting, fighting, and basically hunting down anyone. It's a movie where you know what you're getting, but does that mean you have to lower your standards? I say no, especially since last year, Ayer and Statham delivered with a dumb, fun movie. The Beekeeper was pretty much everything this wasn't. It was intentionally funny, whereas this is unintentionally funny. It doesn't have that extra Statham magic that separates some of his movies from others. David Ayer is a strange cat. He started his career blowing the doors off with his Training Day screenplay and then jumped into his own movies. He had a really gritty sense of LA in street movies like Harsh Times, Street Kings, but then he got to a point in his career where he was leveling up. The filmmaking was better, the actors were better, his movies looked better. He had a successful run in the 2010s. End of Watch was a terrific found footage movie with solid performances from Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena, super underrated. And then he had Fury, which was a strong World War II movie with an excellent cast. It was hard hitting and visually was actually a really accomplished work. We all know the disaster that was Suicide Squad, but again, excellent cast, and visually he stepped up his game. And then from there, Ayers kind of lost that juice and really become more of what we thought of him, a serviceable B movie director who really likes violence. And his movies became straight up forgettable. Sabotage, The Tax Collector. It wasn't until Beekeeper where he really celebrated his B moviness with, let's be honest, a B movie actor, Statham, and the pairing just made sense. But with A Working Man, somehow David Ayer has backslid. His filmmaking here is way worse. The action is choppy, shot way too close, and kind of clumsy. But story wise is where it really suffers. This thing is co written by Sylvester Stallone. I know the guy wrote Rocky, but he's also done a lot of garbage. And having his sensibility with Ayers is just pure machismo and cheese. Statham is definitely in the pantheon of action movie stars. He's really the only true action star we have, like a Schwarzenegger in the day, like a Stallone. He's really carrying the torch for action, so I never balk at him making another generic action movie. I say, let's have a dozen more working mans. I'm all for it. That means a lot of them are gonna suck, like this one, but we need low rent B movie action in our Hollywood ecosystem. This movie's biggest problem is Statham doesn't really have a villain to bump up against. In fact, there's too many villains, and they are way too cartoonish. You have a pair of Russian twins who dress in gaudy attire that they fashion themselves. You have briefly a mob boss played by Jason Fleming, who seems kind of cool, but he's taken out way too early. Then you have this burly hulk of a guy who was also in the military, who Statham kind of has this uneasy alliance with. They have a fight scene at the end, which should be awesome. It's over in like 1 minute. You have a sex traffic buyer who literally looks like the penguin. It's almost like they took the end of the Beekeeper, where he fights that crazy South African guy, and thought, well, why don't we just make every villain crazy and costume crazy, and that'll do all the work. Unfortunately, it doesn't. It just diminishes the stakes for Statham. It's too busy and it's not focused enough. There's also a subplot with his daughter who he's trying to get more custody with, and Statham's former military buddy, played by David Harbour, who also has two scenes and doesn't even show up at the end to save the day. I know his character's blind, but come on, this is a silly movie. He could have showed up blind with guns blazing. Unfortunately, a working man does not reach the dumb fun heights of the Beekeeper last year. It's just a generic, formless Statham vehicle. The man can do better, and we deserve better. I give a working man a regrettable 2 out of 5 stars. If you like this review, like and subscribe, or follow me on Letterboxd at Ramirez S316, or break your teeth.